Hello and welcome to the next part of the Ayurveda Yoga series. Today's video is a Vata Dosha flow. So this is for anyone who is a Vata type and who would like to keep this in balance, or for anyone who has a bit more of the Pitta and Kapha energy and would like to slow down a little bit and accumulate some of the Vata energy. So let's come to a seated position. Find a comfortable seat, bring your hands to your knees and close your eyes for a moment. We're bringing our attention to our inside and to the breath. And we take a few breaths in silence. We're now going to start a breathing exercise that is particularly suitable for Vata type people. We're going to close one nostril with our finger, inhale through the left, stop for a moment, close the other nostril, exhale through the right, and wait for a moment. Then going to inhale through the right, wait for a moment, and exhale through the left nostril. Let's take a few rounds at our own pace. If you're doing this for the first time, it's not a problem if you miss out one part. It takes some time to get used to the flow of the breath in this way. You might notice as you progress through this exercise that the breath is becoming longer and more calm. Let us finish this round of breathing and then come back to normal breath. We will then begin with a side stretch. So place your right hand beside you on the mat and take a deep inhale to stretch your entire left side. Make sure you don't drop to the front. You want to keep a straight line on the left side of your body. On your next exhale, slowly coming back to center, roll your shoulders a few times, and then place your left hand beside you. Take a large round, the inhale, and stretch all the way to the left hand side. Feel the length in the right side of your body, and with every breath becomes a bit more stretched. With the next exhale, come back up to center. Take your hands and stretch overhead One time all the way to the top. And exhale. Come back down. Roll your shoulders once again. And come back to center. We're now going to change to seated position for a stretch. Let us extend the right leg. We take the left leg and cross it over. And then inhale all the way to the top. And exhale, turn to the left. So you have your right elbow touching the right knee. And you're looking to your left, over your left shoulder. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And on every exhale, try to turn a little bit further, just a few centimeters. And the next exhale, first turn back your head, release your arms, release the leg, adjust your hips, and we're going to walk forward just a little bit with our hands and feel the length in the back. It's not actually a forward fold, it's just a counter pose to the seated stretch that we have performed. Then slowly walk back with your hands. We're then going to extend the left leg, cross the right leg over it. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, we're turning to the right hand side. And we're looking back over the right shoulder. Once again, pay attention to your breath. It might become longer on the exhale as you sit in this pose quietly. And then going to turn back the head to center, release the arms, adjust your hips one more time, and walk forward with your hands to give your back a stretch. Slowly walk back again. And then we're going to turn around and lay down on our belly. You have three options now for a back bend. The first one is you place your hands underneath your shoulders and gently press up your upper body. Second option is that you place your elbows on the mat. Then make sure that you press away your shoulders from the mat so you don't tension them too much. The third option is the seal. So you come back all the way and press your hands into the mat. You choose the option that is right for you in this moment, as we're going to stay in this pose for a couple of breaths. Bring your focus to the breath. And even though you are staying in this position, it is very challenging indeed. Try to control the breath and follow every inhale and exhale. Press your elbows into the mat. Keep your shoulders strong and the neck is relaxed. On the next exhale, bring your hands under the shoulders, press yourself back, and come to child's pose for a moment. Slowly come back up and come back to your seated position to prepare for the next part. Our next pose is going to be swan pose, and you will need 1 or 2 blocks for that. So one block you can place in front of you and the second one somewhere on the side. So we're coming into a tabletop position. Bring forward the right knee and you turn your foot towards the center and move back a little bit with the left foot. You can now place the block under your hips so you can sit on the block a little bit to have your hips even. Then we're walking down with our hands. You can either stay here on the elbows and find a block for support, or if you like, come all the way down and stay here for a couple of breaths. Your next inhale, slowly come out of the pose. First walk back with our hands and then remove the block under the hips. Come back to tabletop position and for a short while come down to child's pose just for one stretch, and then we're back in tabletop. This time we place a block on our left side and one in front to bring forward the left knee. Place the block underneath the hips and then slowly come down to the elbows or your desired option. Slowly come out of the pose And back to tabletop. If you wish, you can bend back once for child's pose. And then we'll continue in a seated position. So for the next asana, we're going to turn in the left leg and then cross the right leg over it. So here you want to make sure that your knees are stacked more or less on top of each other. Now all we're going to do is just bend forward and feel the stretch in our hips. If you like, you can also use a block between your knee and your forehead if you cannot reach for the knee, or you can place one in front if you wish to go further down. Slowly come back up. And we're going to change side. So grab the left leg over the right leg, and once again stack the knees on top of each other. And we're slowly going to bend forward just a little bit. Vata type people tend to be very flexible, so they sometimes even have to be careful not to stretch too much. We just want to feel a gentle stretch in the hips and the outer thigh. And that's all this pose is for. Slowly walk back with your hands and come back up. And we'll move to the next pose where you can also use one block. This will be straddle pose. So you can place a block somewhere in front of you. If you would like to place your elbows on it, for example. We're not going all the way down into a split stretch. This is just meant to be a gentle stretch for the entire inner side of the legs. And we'll keep our back straight with a relaxed neck. And we'll bring our attention to the breath once again. This might feel totally different from the breath in swan pose, for example. The next exhale. Slowly come out of the pose. You can now remove the blocks and prepare for Shavasana. We're going to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae and place our hands beside the hips, the palms facing up. can lift your shoulders again and your hips to adjust them. And then slowly close your eyes. Just follow your breath. We're going to stay here in silence for a moment to ground our body and to close this practice. When you're ready, slowly come back to the place where you are here and now on your mat by moving a little bit your fingers and your toes. If you like, you can stretch overhead and feel once again the length of your entire body. You can then turn over to one side when you're ready and stay there for a moment with your eyes closed. Whenever you're ready, come back up to a seated position and take a few breaths to feel how you're grounded and how your Vata Dosha is in balance. Bring your hands in front of your heart and bow forward, bringing them to the forehead, and thank yourself for this practice and for spending the time to do something good to your body. Namaste.